So what was the transition like from obviously starting in IML and then becoming an actual trader?
Finances weren't the best, and it was just like I knew I wasn't gonna be a top leader or anything, and I didn't want to be a top leader in the day really, because it's all unsustainable in the day. It only took me a few months to get funded, yes, but getting funded wasn't the problem. It was keeping the funded account. So I would get funded and then I'd just blow the account, right? Blew it. Okay, cool. I made about 10K in 4 days, right?
Wow.
But in my head, I thought I could keep making 3K a day or something like that and not miss a day at all. All it took it was one day to mess up and all of it was gone.
Yeah.
And that was my moment there. I was like, all right, not doing this ever again. We're doing
I mean, having 8, 9 payouts in what, 4 months, that speaks for itself. So would you like to show us a particular setup and kind of talk us through like what kind of sessions you trade, how you trade? Welcome back to the Bespoke Funded Trader podcast. In this episode, I talk to someone who has one of the best mindsets that I have spoken to when it comes to trading, and that is evident because he has had 9 payouts in the last 3 months. So let's get straight into it. So welcome to the Bespoke Funded Trader podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me on here.
That's good. I'm great, thank you. So for the viewers at home, do you want to just give a quick introduction into who you are, where you're from, and how you got into trading?
Yes, my name's Abdul. I've been training for the last 4 years in the forex markets. I went to school for 6 years for college. I have 2 degrees. Yeah, I've been funded since like June, basically since June. It's not the first time, but like consistently be funded since June.
Okay, cool. So how did you actually get into trading? Like, what was your first experience into the trading world?
Traditional route, IML. That's how I got into
Okay.
it. Yeah, kind of that way. That's how I got into it necessarily.
Okay, so what was the transition like from obviously starting in IML and then becoming an actual trader?
I think it all comes from what you join for. Like for me, I joined because I wanted to learn how to trade, not how to
Okay.
like network marketing. I didn't really want to do all that stuff. It was more so I wanted to purely trade in the day. So even when I left, I knew I still wanted to trade.
Okay. It's quite different to how most people go into it. I think most people go into IML not really knowing about trading or anything to do with that kind of industry. But at least when you went into it, you already knew about trading, and that was the point of you joining. But I'm guessing you left because you didn't really learn how to trade from that.
No, like I was learning how to trade, but like I think off more so kind of like me, my trial and error myself, not really most of the company kind. I wasn't really learning much from them. So it was just, when you're in the we in like network marketing with like friends and stuff, kind of harder to leave. And then, I was in there for a year and then I left after. I couldn't do no more. I was like, nah,
Oh, a year though, that's a long time to
yeah, it's a
actually
lot.
stick it out.
Yeah, a year.
Wow. What made you want to leave eventually?
It was just finances weren't the best, and it was just like I knew I wasn't gonna be a top leader or anything, and I didn't want to be a top leader in the day really, because it's all unsustainable in the day.
Mhm.
One week you're this rank, next week you're that rank. I was never really into that stuff. I wanted to trade in the day, so I had to take myself out, and I didn't tell no one because what they do is they'll call you after, try to make you stay. Like
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So what kind of trading strategy do you have now? Like, did you adopt anything that you learned from them, or is it completely different now?
no, so it was completely different afterwards. So at that point afterwards, I trade ICT concepts, well, smart money concepts, XYZ around there. So I've been doing that for the last 2 years,
Mhm.
and from there, that evolved my trading to another level
Okay. Okay, that's cool. So when did you get into ICT concepts?
2 years ago.
Okay,
Um,
so you've been doing it for quite a while.
yeah, so I was mentored by someone named Ron.
Okay.
He's a trader himself, X, Y, Z. But yeah, that's how I got into it. I watched stuff. He pulls just straight results, and that's kind of the person I want to be by, like someone who just results, all this X, Y, and Z can explain it well. Then that's why I went to his mentorship. And I mean, I know a lot of people who got into like multiple mentorships and this and that trial and error, but I've only ever bought two mentorships in forex
Okay.
ever. So it's like me, I really got to analyze the person, like you know what I mean. Like the first one was like you know nonsense. Second one, that was it. That was it. That's all I needed.
Okay, that's good because it's true, like you say, when people come into trading, they tend to hop between mentors and strategies and just trying to, I guess, kind of trying to find what works for them, not really
Exactly.
understanding that whatever you do find, you can make it work for you, whatever it is. But obviously, it's good that you found someone early on that you could trust and that you picked up a lot from.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Sometimes, well, also too, it's not that sometimes mentorships are bad. Sometimes it's the person themselves. It's like, this does work, but do you work? That's what it comes down to. Like you're trying this, trying that, it doesn't work. All right, you mentor. No, you gotta. It takes, yeah, collect a long period of data before you say, all right, this is not the mentorship for me. And like my first mentorship, when I compared it to the first one, it was kind of like the dude was more so kind of like a marketer, and like when I was trying to when we did a one-on-one, there was nothing for me to learn off him, but psychology. It was kind of like there's nothing you can really tell me, and it wasn't no egotistical or anything like that at all. It was just like I'm here for nothing, low key,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to increase my problem. One thing he did preach was risk to reward, yeah, but there was nothing concept wise, nothing for me to learn off him.
Wow. So that was just a complete waste of money then, basically.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out there, and I think it's hard and it's not nice for people new to the industry coming into this and having to navigate like who's real, who's fake,
Mhm.
who's just a marketer, who actually wants to teach. And I
Exactly.
think it's a very thin line between the marketing and the passion for teaching, because if you are passionate about teaching, then you'll obviously want to market that. But there's also people out here that are just professional marketers, and it is so hard for new people coming into this industry these days because you just can't tell the difference until you're actually in it learning, or
Exactly.
learning, should I say.
Yeah. Just like the one trade they catch, and then that's the one they market, but then they don't show losses. Like, you know what I mean? Like I show losses. I have no issue with that. I'll show you.
Yeah.
No, I'll show you. Like I'll tell you, I blow in the front of the account. It's normal. It's perfectly normal. Like it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they'll get a massive payout, post all about it on social media, but not talk about how many accounts they've blown trying to get that one payout, which that payout is probably just covering their losses for all the challenges that they've lost. But people
Exactly.
don't see that.
Exactly. Exactly. People don't see that because people don't tell them that. I tell people all
Yeah.
the time, this is one of the hardest industries to learn.
Facts.
It comes down to like that. This the type of person you gotta be, you gotta align with this. Otherwise, you're not gonna last long in here.
Facts. Facts. So, reflecting on your trading career so far, could you share a pivotal moment or experience that significantly shaped your approach to trading?
Yeah, just knowing the difference between what's an A plus setup and what's a F setup, something like that, around there.
Okay.
So I have a time where actually went on about a 10 trading losing streak. I lost
Wow.
10 straight in a row. It was around from February of 2023, not that long ago, matter of fact. Um, and when I showed it to my mentor, he was like, I was like, bro, like lost 10 straight trades in a row.
Mhm.
Well, one, look at your stop loss, and two, look at the kind of trades you're taking. One, my stop loss was too tight, and two, I was taking C plus setups. And he said,
Mhm.
look at mine. I took 3 this past week while you took 10. He won 2, probably lost 1 while I lost straight 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So SL was too tight. Setup was like a C, like just entering any type of setup.
Mhm.
Whereas he every criteria got to meet, otherwise he wasn't getting in the trade. And where did I find 10 trades in the time of the year at February? I don't know. So no, February, like a lot of people know, February sounds like I guess like the startup to market coming back, but it's still kind of rocky. So
Mhm.
that's not really the best time to be taking 10 trades in a week. So yeah,
Okay, I think that's a really good one. That was a huge thing for me as well. I think when you first learning how to trade and you have like the basic concepts of like support and resistance and like engulfing candles and stuff like that, as soon as you see something, you just want to get into the trade. But it's about understanding that you need to have like kind of like a hierarchy of setups. So if you've got like three complemences on a trade setup, then you know that that is probably going to be a good trade. However, if you're just going off of just one confluence, then nine times out of 10, that's not going to work.
that's
So,
the C setup I'm talking about exactly.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it could work, it's a possibility, but
Yes,
there's more of a possibility of it being to your detriment if you take that trade. So I think just waiting for those, like you say, A-star setups to come about, having multiple complemences and not just going off of like one bullish engulfing candle and jumping into a long,
exactly.
especially on a 1 minute chart. Those are differences between being a profitable trader and being not profitable.
Exactly. So that comes down to my time frame. Like I also just trade mainly the 1 hour and 4 hour time frame.
Mhm.
Reason being because higher time frame means higher confluence for the market to keep on the direction it's gonna go, whether it's bullish or bearish in that order flow, right?
Mhm.
So I don't trade. I try not to trade anything below the 1 hour. If anything, if I scale down, it's more so like entry wise, kind of like how
Yeah,
does it look? But that's about it. The picture is painted based upon a higher time frame over every time for me.
I like
Like
that.
yeah, like every time you mark up, you should be painting like a picture. If the picture is coming out like what A plus look like, then that's a setup to me. But if it doesn't, if the picture, if I'm sitting at that setup for like 10 minutes trying to figure it out, I gotta throw it away because realistically, it only takes me like 5 minutes to mark something up, like 5 minutes or less. It's just right there in front of my face.
Yeah, I like that as well. And I like what you said about scaling down just for entry purposes, because I think that, again, that's the thing that's quite overlooked. I think, like you say, getting the general consensus of your bias should be on the higher time frames, such as the 4 hour and the 1 hour. But then when you want to get in, you want to narrow it down to lower time frames so that you can get a good entry with minimal drawdown, which I think that alone can kind of help your psychology when you're actually in the trade. Because if you get to like, if you enter at the top of that 1 hour bullish candle, let's
Mm-hmm.
say we're going long, you might then be stuck in some drawdown for a period of time while price retraces, find some more liquidity, and then shoots up in your direction. Whereas if you can be patient and scale down to the lower time frames and just wait for price to come to a level on those lower time frames, that can help you with not being in drawdown for such a longer period of time, if that makes sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, there's so many aspects when it comes to trading that a lot of people don't talk about. Like people don't talk about the fact that you can have a bias from certain time frames, but then getting an entry bias is completely different and
exactly,
requires a lot more patience and discipline, I guess, which I
exactly.
think it's something that's very overlooked.
Yeah, and also too, like a lot of people, there's times when my entries miss, like there's times that it miss. I've had entries missed by like 5 points. Like let's say on another Monday, I had it missed
Mhm.
by like 4 points. This is last week, I believe, last week, the week before. And that's just what it is. Like I gotta live by my entry, otherwise, it builds a bad habit of getting into the trade early.
Facts.
What if there's plenty of times where I hopped in the trade early and then end up in my entry anyways.
Yeah.
So and day I gotta just be disciplined and wait for it to hit my entry. That's what it comes down to. That goes for any trader. Like it's okay if it trades a miss. I'd rather let it miss and I didn't risk anything than I hopped in early, I risked more and I lose more. So it's very gotta really walk into it with a very disciplined mindset. It's very hard to watch a trade fly right in front of your face and miss your entry.
Facts. Facts. I think that again, that is where that discipline comes in, to just be okay with the fact that you missed the trade and there is another one around the corner. But it is something that you have to work on as a trader.
Yeah, like and then like some people ask me like where does my discipline come from? I think this comes from the basic fact of like what kind of morals did you grow up with, like, you know, how your parents took care of you, just basic stuff like that. Like if you're a kid that did whatever you want anytime, this place, that place, you know, I'm not judging or anything like that, but you're gonna most likely walk into the market, do what you want, however
Yeah.
you want. No matter it's 7 p.m. in Asian session, Eastern, my side, which is Asian session, right? You should be trading that time because that's basically accumulation time where the market's just consolidating for the next move for the next day. And you know, it's just little stuff like that. They roll over to trading. Trading will show you who you are.
Facts.
And then the day it's you versus you in this market.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is something that I always say. If you don't know who you are as a person and what kind of negative traits you have, start
Exactly.
trading, because it will show you who you are.
Exactly. Like if you're impatient, like, you know, if you're impatient to do X, Y, and Z stuff in your real life, you will be
Yeah.
impatient to wait for a trade setup. It correlates. It correlates. Like I was actually I ran track and field. I did the sport track and field for about 10 years.
Okay.
And one of the prominent moments for me was um right, I was what 14, I was ninth grade, right? I was actually one of the top runners for my event, right? At 14 years old in my year. But then what happened was I got hurt due to overtraining.
Okay.
Now in trading, people fail because they overtrade. Have over a hundred trades executed within 2 weeks on their profit challenge. Overtrading equals failure. Now in track and field, the same thing in studying sport. Overtraining on the body, especially when you're like, you know, you're young in the industry or young in, you know, young in the industry with trading or young within the sport, it leads to injury.
Yeah.
So it took me up until my senior year, 3 years of staying down and just every year, just this year might be the year where I'm back where I was. This year might be the year I'm back where I was. Till my senior year of high school, where that happened. 3 years of patience, of waiting,
Wow.
consistently grinding, just to have my own personal moment. I didn't care about no person, no I could. I just wanted my personal moment. I knew I could get back to where I was, and that was better than I was because I was able to do this, that, this, and that, that. I was versatile at that point.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with trading. So what came down to me coming to profit trading, what evolved, what got me to finally get over the hump, was I had to realize how much patience I had those years ago when I was younger. And I didn't put a time frame on it at all. I just kept going, whatever happened, happened. Right. The same thing with trading. I stopped putting a time frame on it. That coming into 2023, I started putting a time frame on it.
Okay.
And that's what evolved my trading just right then and there. And it was around the same time with where no time limits was a thing. Well, you know, I passed with with time limit, but then when they took it off, it just made everything like, you
Yeah.
know, this is it, like right here, like this is exactly what I need. Because if I take the setup when I want, I'm, you know, my chances of failing it's decreased in my eyes. But it take me a month, 2 months to pass in phase one, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the two, you see how the two correlated.
Yeah.
The discipline I took when I was younger, so I took over here, and it obviously wasn't overnight, but it reflected eventually.
Yeah. I really like that correlation as well. And I was actually going to say, like, how do you think you became a profitable trader? Like, what was the mindset switch in becoming a profitable trader? And it sounds like because you had that previous
Yeah,
level of discipline through track and field, that has obviously now rolling over to obviously your trading. Does that go back to like earlier life? Is that something that you've kind of always had, or is that something that you worked on while you were doing track and field?
The only thing that mattered to me while I was doing track and field was I was trying to have the good grades, everything like that. Cause I wanted to be a high D1 track and field athlete. But obviously that didn't happen. I ended up going D1 still. I ran for my college myself, but it wasn't a high D1 in the day. But it was fine to me because the prominent moment for me at that point, I think I just dropped that, and the prominent moment for me was to get back to where I was from that year and be even better and versatile, and
Yeah.
I achieved that. So that's why it was kind of like in the day, it is what it is. Like this is what meant a lot to me personally.
Mhm.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was there like, can you go back to any moment in younger life where you still had that kind of discipline, or is that something that came with obviously as you reach teenage years?
I think as I matured through high school, it developed more. Obviously, a little maturity growing up. But as I grew through high school years, I matured. But really, college, like what that did was it created like a system out of me where I always made time to do my work, do this, do this, do that, all this and that, where I'm able to like manage all my time at once, right? Right. To the point where like I know a lot of people have like all nighters in college. I've only had like one ever. Only had like one.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I never really had like an all nighter in college because all my stuff was time managed well, and I always did it on time. I was always like an on time person.
That's crazy. And me speaking from experience now, when it was coming up to exams when I was in uni, before every single exam, I would do an all-nighter because I just left everything till the last minute. I would revise like here and there, like
Mm-hmm.
during the semester, but
Mm-hmm.
when it came to exams, I would literally start the whole night before and just cram. Me and my friend, we literally did that religiously for every single exam.
That's insane. That's really insane. Yeah. No, like for me, like, let's say if I had an exam, let's say by November, right? It's November right now. So beginning of November, I start looking at the beginning of the material. And then as the next week come, I'm reviewing the next chapter, the next chapters, little by little. So by the time the week of that comes, when I look at it again, my brain already remembers it. I
Yeah.
already have a good idea of it, and I can move on to the stuff I struggle with before the exam, and so I can produce out a score, average score, where the stuff I struggle with is what I score low on, and the stuff I already knew is what I scored high on. Probably bringing me like an 80 or something on the exam.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, like like I wasn't always like the best college student because college is hard. College is hard, but like in terms of time management, I had a good idea of time management in college.
Mhm. I mean, it sounds like all of these experiences that you've had, obviously going through college, and like I would say you had a huge level of discipline to be able to get
Hmm.
through college with only pulling one all-nighter. Because I think anyone that is at home watching who's been to university or college, if you're in America, then we know how hard it is. So I
Exactly.
think it sounds like all the experiences that you had, like I said, you going to college, running track and field, everything that you went through has kind of built you up to who you are today. And obviously, in turn, that has helped you to become an amazing trader because you have the exact mindset that the perfect trader kind of needs.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think traders just need to stop putting a time frame on how long it's gonna take them, this and that. Some people
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I've only been trading for 5 months. I'm into prop firm trading." I feel like you shouldn't be touching the prop firm until you get a full year cycle how this market works, at least bare minimum. Because I don't think I was touching the prop firm until like maybe like my second year of trading.
Hmm.
Second year. That's when I learned of them, and I didn't really touch them until yeah, it's like my second year and some change. Yeah, my second year. Yeah, literally my second year is when I started touching them.
Wow. I mean, I know a lot of people that it takes way longer than that. For me, for example, it took me around 5 years before I actually started to see profits. But
Yeah.
I started trading before, like way before prop firms were even a thing.
Mhm.
So it's crazy that even the time that you've been in the industry is still a very short amount of time compared to what it does take a lot of people to become successful in trading and
Yeah,
become consistently profitable. So I think you've done a great job. And like I said, I think the mindset that you've obviously come into this with has helped you a lot.
exactly. No, definitely, because I think my very first time ever being funded was back in 2021. Yeah, back in 2021. It was a long time ago, a while ago. And it only took me a few months to get funded, yes, but getting funded wasn't the problem. It was keeping the funded account. So I would get funded and then I would just blow the account, right? Blew it. Okay, cool. So I think my last straw was I was funded last year with another firm around May.
Mhm.
And the strategy I was using, I was still doing ICT, but I was on the 1 minute, all that stuff. It wasn't sustainable. So I say I stick to higher time frame now. And I made about 10K in 4 days, right?
Wow.
But in my head, I thought I could keep making 3K a day or something like that and not miss a day at all. All it took it was one day to mess up and all of it was gone.
Yeah.
And that was my moment there. I was like, all right, not doing this ever again. We're doing, you know what I mean? It's like third time's the charm, something like that. And then this coming into this year where I said, all the stop losses I had, whatever, with 10 trade losing streak, that was February. Coming into May, I made all that adjustments. And then I shot for the challenge and I applied everything and then boom, like I didn't plan for me to pass. I just do it. You know what I mean? Boom, passed. And then once I got it, I was like, okay, this is exactly how I want to pass my challenges. And then fast forward now, like I'm 900K funded now.
Sick.
Yeah. So it was like I took this whole summer, I think I had like over 10 challenges. Probably failed like 2, 3, but passed like 7.
Wow. That's amazing.
But yeah, it was something. Yeah, I was on a roll. It was on a roll,
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And when you look at it like that, like you now have 900K in funding, all you really need is 0.5 to 1% a month, and you
like
are living better than most people that are working a full-time job.
exactly. It don't take that much to make money in the industry. So you don't need to make more money with these, profit from account. You need more capital.
Facts.
More capital, less trades, less stress.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like even right now on my bespoke funded account, I'm funded 100K here. I've only bought one account here, and I'm funded that account. Obviously, we're on this profit right now, interview right now, right? I've only taken about 3 trades,
Wow,
and I'm about to get my second payout.
that's so cool.
I'm saying less is more.
Mhm.
You don't need more trades to make money. You need less trades and more A+ setups.
Yeah,
That's all.
preserve that capital.
That's all you need. The more you trade, the more you risk this funded capital. So I've had the funded account since like the beginning of October. We're what, mid-November, and I've only taken
Yeah.
3 trades. But that's
Wow.
perspective. Less is more.
Facts. Facts. And I think preserving that capital as well, that is the most important thing, because you could just go on tilt now, start over trading, and those accounts could be gone in a day.
Yeah, and all it takes is, I'm gonna risk 3% here and try to make like 7K, or I'm gonna risk 4 and try. You lose one trade 4%. Now you're gonna think you get this. Let me just risk half 1%. You're good.
Yeah.
Save that. However you pass your phases, save that for that. But on your first funded account, half to 1%. Keep that going the whole time, because when you get more funding capital, that's all you need to keep risking. You don't need to risk more. You need more capital at that point. See what I'm saying? Maybe when you have more funding capital, you risk more in the phases, but that's it.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
that's it. That's it. Like I made my own model how to pass my phases, and it works for me.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So let's get into a little bit of your trading. So would you like to show us a particular setup and kind of talk us through like what kind of sessions you trade, how you trade, and yeah, what kind of setups you take?
Yeah, so I trade GA, GU, and EU. So for one setup on GA that I actually recently took, when I go on the higher time for like I was saying the 4 hour, I see that GA took out a high right here. It's kind of like hindsight now, but this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I said GA took out a high right here, and I know GA has equal lows in the market to take down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is all liquidity. This is all money to be taken eventually. So when I go there on a daily time frame, I scale down there, we took out this high right there. I'm waiting for displacement. So it's not just me, oh, it took out the side of me hopping for a sell. No. So I'm gonna wait for displacement because what could have happened is it could have went up here instead and then sold. But instead,
Mm-hmm.
it sold down there. But that's okay because we know GA is bearish anyways. So when I scale down, right, to the 1 hour, we see what an accumulation phase. I trade by the power of three: accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, right? So
Okay.
we have accumulation right here. We have manipulation, manipulated and took out the high. And then boom, we left the FEG right here. So when I saw this, I said, okay, boom, I want to take out sell right here. But obviously, this is what I'm saying, missed entry.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Fine. We didn't hit our entry right here. So then I hop in the trade now. I let it go. I came back for New York session, right? Oops. I came back from New York session and I seen that now, right? So with Asian, we have that's what accumulation phase is, and then London usually the manipulation, and then New York is usually the continuation with the retracement. So now we have what continuation, right? Continuation going on down here. And what do I see here? Now I see another FEG with an order block right there, right? This is literally where I entered off, which was right around New York kill zone.
Mm-hmm.
I trade around the kill zone times, right? People ask me why didn't I wait for FEG around here? I said, well, that's because it's time and place, right? If we're around, yeah, look at where the market is at the time. If we're around prime time around here and you see it, you see price about to reverse and go, the continuation, then this is probably your best POI, like point of
Mm-hmm.
interest. This is what I was like, okay, I'm gonna just get in right here, risk my how much did I risk? I got in right here. I risked about 30 pips. And I didn't want to be in the market for long. So I did a 1 to 2. And we went right, one candle went right through that.
Love that.
Right in and out, right in like an hour, and that's it. Trading done. Next.
That's cool. I like that. And it's so simple as well.
Exactly. One more setup that let me clean this up. One more setup that I took, I would say, was it happened on Friday, right? GBP news came out. We took out the low, right? I took out the low, and then we produced another setup right here. People trade smart money. They call this a BPR. It came back down, manipulated, right? Retraced, came back down, and then continuation. That was it. A target would have been right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then our sell was about like 20. Because at this point, if it comes down here, it's going to keep selling at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a 2.3 right there. So as long as my risk reward is at least a 2, a 1 to 2, I'm good. 1 to 2, 1 to 3. That's my risk reward every time. Like GA was a 1 to 2. This one was like a 1 to 2.3.
Okay. I like it. It's so simple.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep it simple and that's it. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And the simplest setups are the A+ setups. Like you see what I'm saying? I ain't sure nothing extravagant or crazy. No, it's just you got to know where you are in the market, what time it is, and we know that the market want to go in continuation at this point in the session. So what you need to do is gravitate to the nearest retracement area,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Everything got aligned. Everything aligns. Okay, cool. Bearish order flow, all that stuff. Okay, cool. Bullish order flow. Okay, cool. Hop in the risk management, and then in the day, all you control is risk management. That's it.
Mm-hmm. What do you do when it comes to news? Do you trade news or do you avoid news?
I don't. If you're asking if I like hop in when news happens, no, I don't. I don't really. No, I don't do that. So all news does is engineer the market faster to its designated target.
Hmm.
So they use so my I based on what I see in the market, they use GBP news to manipulate to take out the low, and then that's where you see what I'm saying. That's where the setup came with all the buys and everything like that.
Yeah,
Because now it looks like GU is bullish, but
yeah,
we need to take out the low first before we continue going bullish. So that's how banks manipulate a lot of people out of the trades first.
hmm,
See what I'm saying? Everybody knows it's bullish, but we're gonna manipulate you guys out of the trade first before we continue to go.
yeah.
Essentially, that's
I'm
how
so
that.
glad you didn't say it was down to the algorithm.
Oh, everyone has their own,
Yeah, everyone has their own opinions, but
I mean, there is an algorithm at the end of the day.
I
You
mean,
know,
I do think it's more down to, like you said, the bank manipulation, a lot of
yeah.
macroeconomic stuff. I don't think that there's like a golden robot in the chart
No,
that says, right, it's 1 p.m. Let's do this every single day. Yeah, I don't believe that. I do think it's definitely the banks and the people that control the money that are moving the money where they want
yeah,
it to go.
no, 100%.
But yeah, each to their own.
Nah, each their own. Yeah, everyone has their own whatever. Everyone makes money. What I like about this market, everybody has their own philosophy how they make money, and
Mhm,
because at the end of the day, like to me, like if you make money, you make money.
mhm.
Like that's it. Like if you're a profitable trader, you're a profitable trader. You know how to trade, you know how to trade. That's really it.
I agree. I agree. So, what has your trading experience been like with bespoke in particular?
It's been very good. Like I said, I got one account, passed it. Spreads is perfectly fine. Everything's cool. Like, you know what I mean? I've never had an issue. I got through phase one, phase two, no issue. I'm on the fund account, no issue. And yeah, everything's been clean.
Okay, good. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Good. So at the end of the interview, we have a tradition where we get the previous guest to ask a question for the next guest.
Yeah.
So your question is from Mark, and his question is, what aspect of trading do you find the toughest still today, and why? And what advice could you give to anyone at home watching that might be struggling with the same?
I think that the toughest aspect is I think adding trading to your finances to the point where it's like, okay, this month will be the month. This month will be the month. This month will be the month where I make X, Y, and Z. I can go on vacation, X, Y. Counting egg, basically counting chicken. You're counting all this stuff before it even becomes realistic, before it even
Yeah.
hits your actual bank account, before it even becomes fun. Have a funded trading account, have money in the funded trading account, get the withdrawal. You gotta just take things slow. Like everything will reveal itself and it reveals itself. I didn't plan to be 900K funded. It just happened, right? I finally found my flow with it, and I just went. I didn't even have a realistic goal at that point because I did not know that was going to happen this recent summer. I did not know. I came into 2023 saying my only goal was to make consistent payouts, and that was it. And then at the end of the day, like all the extra stuff is just extra stuff, but my realistic goal was to have consistent payouts. Like I'm about to be tapping on what I've been getting paid since August, right? I'm about to tap on number 8 or 9 right now, number 8 or 9 payout for since August. So I don't have a number how many payouts I want to end the year either. I just take it a week at a time, and I just keep going. That's it. You have to just keep going, and when your time comes, it will come. But don't calculate it. You can't calculate how long it's going to take you. Everybody has their own journey.
You know what? I really like that answer. I think most people with that answer would come up with something like FOMO or greed or
No,
something very generic, but that is such a great answer because we are all victim to that. We are spending the money before we have the money, and that is definitely a huge mental battle that we have to overcome as traders, because
Exactly.
that alone can lead us down a dark hole.
Exactly. When I buy a challenge account, I say, okay, I spent X, Y, and Z on this challenge account. But I don't start saying I'm gonna make X, Y, and Z out of it. I just say I spent this. I spent
Yeah,
this knowing that this is an investment. And if it goes, it goes. If it don't, it don't. That's how I look at it. I don't count and say, oh, I'm gonna get no, 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 no. It's because I still fail challenges to this day. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody still fails challenges as part of it. So it's just like you can't guarantee nothing's guaranteed in this market, so you shouldn't guarantee it either.
facts. Facts.
Every trade's a risk. You know what I mean? You're constantly risking capital every single trade. So don't guarantee anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always a risk when it comes to trading. Nothing is guaranteed.
Nothing at all.
Facts. So, what is your question for the next guest? Right, it has been so good talking to you, and I really am a fan of your mindset and your discipline, and your whole approach to trading. And I think if anyone is watching at home, I think that is going to be something big for you guys to take home. I think if you can go back and rewatch this when we talk about the mindset aspect, there is a lot of information there that Abdul's provided us with, and I think that alone, if you take anything from this conversation, that is huge. Because I think if there is like a perfect mindset when it comes to trading, I think you do have it. And I mean, having 8-9 payouts in 4 months, that speaks for itself. You're consistently profitable, and you are the type of person that people should be looking up to. So thank you so much for joining me today and telling me about your journey. And yeah, I hope that we can jump on again maybe and just do a whole session on mindset, because I think it would be great to do that. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I'd be honored to do that. Just let me know when and we can arrange it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you do not miss any more of our videos. And if you did enjoy that interview, then make sure you go to our YouTube channel where you can watch all of our past interviews.